Other plays where it felt like Asia was bullying other players on the Fever. And I want you to watch this play here with Lexi Hall. She's standing her ground. She's trying to down screen and Asia just chucks her to the ground. Now there was no whistle there and you can see ref number 16 right there. He's watching the whole thing happen. No whistle.
Behold the league's MVP, Aja Wilson, sending Lexi Hall sprawling to the floor under the direct gaze of a referee. No call. Now etch that image into your memory. And listen to what that same MVP lamented after the game. A special whistle. This is the fiction Aja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces have been peddling since the final buzzer of Game 4. They want you to believe the Leah Boston and the Indiana Fever were handed a golden ticket to the line by a compromised crew, hijacking a victory from the two-time defending champ. They've cast themselves as the martyrs in an orchestrated conspiracy. But for anyone watching closely, the official version is rarely the true one. Today we dismantle that deception. We have the tape they pray you'll ignore, the uncalled fouls, the sustained aggression, and the single sideline dispatch from an injured player that proves this meltdown was never about officiating. It was about a champion team that simply could not take a punch. This is the definitive story of how Sophie Cunningham demolished Aja Wilson's alibi. We specialize in investigations that sift through the static to uncover the facts. If you agree the footage is undeniable, show your support and hit that like button. It tells us you want more deep dives the mainstream won't touch. Now let's assemble the evidence.
Discussed.
It certainly felt like a differently officiated game than other parts of the series. I think we had more defensive 3 seconds today than any other part of the playoffs. I just wonder how you felt about the overall flow of the game.
Well, they shot 34 free throws and we shot 11. Next question. I got to go back and look at the tape, but it seemed like there was a lot of grabbing and holding down there. That got called one way. Anything else? I did appreciate it was a little tighter called, but tighter.
The grievance from the Aces bench was built around a staggering 34-11 free throw disparity, a number repeated like a mantra. Next question. This wasn't analysis. It was a calculated broadside against the officials. She was establishing a battle line, constructing a ready-made excuse for her team's failure. Her MVP followed her lead, firing a venomous remark at her rival Leah Boston with that sarcastic special whistle comment. The message was unmistakable. We weren't defeated, we were sabotaged. That story is neat, tidy, and for a disgruntled fan base, dangerously effective. But does it hold up to scrutiny? Was the free throw gap the product of a conspiracy, or was it the logical byproduct of one team's game plan completely overwhelming the others? The reality is, the Fever's parade to the line wasn't a fluke. It was by design.
Other plays where it felt like Asia was bullying other players on the Fever. And I want you to watch this play here with Lexi Hall. She's standing her ground. She's trying to down screen and Asia just chucks her to the ground. Now there was no whistle there and you can see ref number 16 right there. He's watching the whole thing happen. No whistle.
Indiana's entire strategy was based on one concept: raw, methodical physicality in the paint. While Vegas settled for jumpers, Indiana drove hard, attacked the glass, and critically funneled the ball to Leah Boston down low, over and over. And when Boston was asked how she bested the MVP and earned 13 trips to the stripe, her answer was about her tactics, not the refs. Let's focus on two words: early seals. This isn't just court jargon. It is the very skeleton key to this controversy. By establishing her position before the pass even arrived, Boston was catching it inches from the basket. From that spot, her defender had two options: concede a bunny or commit the foul. The Aces paid the price. That isn't bias, it's the tax paid for being out-schemed and out-positioned. Indiana controlled the paint, and in basketball, that's where championships are decided. The paint is where contact happens. It's that simple. So is Aja Wilson's complaint legitimate, or did Leah Boston's strategy merely expose the Aces' porous interior defense? Post your verdict in the comments. But remember, a smart game plan is only half the picture. To fully grasp the hypocrisy from the Aces, we must disregard their narrative and examine their own conduct on the floor. We must go back to the tape. The Aces want you looking at the box score, mesmerized by the 34-11 figure, feeling a manufactured sense of injustice. But the true story, the one that atomizes their entire argument, is not in the fouls that were called, but in the ones that were completely ignored.
I think for me, this from day one has just been a really special group. We've hit a lot of adversity collectively. I had some tough stuff that I was going through personally, and this group would just rallied around me, rally around each other. And truly do live the mantra of we over me. And it's just been a really, really special group. You don't always get these opportunities to coach groups like this, at the professional level, especially. And I think because they're who they are as human beings, it allows us to continue.
Let's isolate the moment. You're watching Lexi Hall execute a fundamental basketball action, a down screen. Now observe Wilson's reaction. This isn't just jockeying for space. This isn't just tough basketball. It is a flagrant two-handed heave. She physically launches a smaller player to the ground, and the referee is positioned just feet away. Observing the entire sequence, no whistle, play on. And this is the same player who had the audacity to sit at a press conference and sarcastically suggest that Aaliyah Boston was getting preferential treatment. The hypocrisy is incandescent. For 3 games, Fever fans and analysts had pointed to a distinct trend. The Aces were allowed a more punishing style of play, getting the benefit of the doubt on 50-50 calls, while Indiana was penalized for incidental contact. This clip, this one moment, is the smoking gun evidence. It visually confirms what so many observers had been saying. The whistle in Game 4 wasn't skewed. It was a long overdue market correction for the imbalances of the previous games, and the fans weren't the only ones who knew it. While A'ja Wilson was busy spinning her victim narrative, one of the Fever's own, forced to watch from the sidelines, had seen enough. She picked up her phone, ready to speak truth to power. Enter Sophie Cunningham, a key guard for the Fever, sidelined for the season with a devastating MCL tear. She couldn't grab boards or defend the wing, but she still possessed a voice. And as she watched the media story get hijacked, she used it. She posted a simple, brutally honest message that cut straight to the heart of the matter. She wrote, "And it's about damn time. I honestly thought the refs did a nice job today on both sides. Let's not breeze past that." This is a player, an insider, publicly verifying everything we just saw. The phrase, "and it's about damn time," wasn't a celebration of getting favorable calls. It was an exhale of vindication that for the first time all series, the officiating felt fair. It was a direct torpedo into the hull of the Aces victim narrative. While Wilson was complaining about a special whistle, Cunningham was confirming that the only thing special about Game 4 was that the whistle was finally just. This is how she exposed the lie. It wasn't in a polished interview. It was raw, unfiltered truth from the front lines. The voice of a team that felt they'd been fighting both the champions and the officials. That simmering frustration, that belief they were perpetually getting the short end of the stick, fueled the Fever's fire. And when Indiana's relentless attack was finally met with a fairly called game, the combination was too much for the defending champions to handle. The pressure cooker exploded, leading directly to a catastrophic unforced error from their Hall of Fame coach. It was the final 30 seconds of a brutal game. The Fever were holding a slim lead. The Aces needed a miracle. And then it happened. Becky Hammon called a timeout she did not have. The result? A technical foul, a free throw, and the ball for Indiana. It was a self-inflicted wound that sealed their fate. It was the final fracture in their facade. Undeniable proof that Indiana's relentless pressure, married with a fairly officiated game, had mentally dismantled the defending champions. They didn't simply lose to the Fever, they were undone by their own agitation. Strip away the static and the image is crystal clear. A'ja Wilson's special whistle complaint was never about justice. It was a diversionary tactic to obscure a simple truth. That right there. Behold the league's MVP, A'ja Wilson, sending Lexi Hall sprawling to the floor under the direct gaze of a referee. No call. Now etch that image into your memory, and listen to what that same MVP lamented after the game. A special whistle. This is the fiction A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces have been peddling since the final buzzer of Game 4. They want you to believe Aaliyah Boston and the Indiana Fever were handed a golden ticket to the line by a compromised crew, hijacking a victory from the two-time defending champs. They've cast themselves as the martyrs in an orchestrated conspiracy, but for anyone watching closely, the official version is rarely the true one. Today, we dismantle that deception. We have the tape they pray you'll ignore, the uncalled fouls, the sustained aggression, and the single sideline dispatch from an injured player that proves this meltdown was never about officiating. It was about a champion team that simply could not take a punch. This is the definitive story of how Sophie Cunningham demolished A'ja Wilson's alibi. We specialize in investigations that sift through the static to uncover the facts.